From Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, this is the USL Championship presented by the Allegheny Health Network. Alongside former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, I'm Spencer Siegel, and we welcome you in tonight to a matchup between two teams in Group F, Gary, who are both essentially locked into playoff spots, but they have a lot to play for tonight with first place up for grabs.
Yeah, and it could be a little bit closer than you think, because if you look at Hartford Athletic, they have 3 games in hand. So win tonight, 3 points behind Pittsburgh, and they've still got those 3 games in hand. But Pittsburgh Riverhounds have been in awesome form recently. 3 straight 3-0 wins. They're going to take a lot of catching, and look at that goal difference, 23.
Our standings brought to you by K&L Gates, and as we look at who needs to step up tonight, we go back to Hartford's last matchup, a win against Loudoun. That's Arthur Rogers with his first career goal, a banger outside the box.
And it was from a long way out. The 23-year-old catching this beautifully. It took a little bit of a deflection, but at least he had the courage to go for it from distance, and he got his reward.
Tonight's Pittsburgh player to watch is Ryan James, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. And why is that, Gary? Because he scored twice against Hartford last time out.
He did. That was a good finish there. He was just slipping as he hit that, but he made the target. And this one, a ball in from Dover. And this is a hell of a strike. Isn't it wonderful? Very difficult to judge as it comes down, but he gets it and he connects it with power into the corner of the net.
Hartford with 3 games in hand tonight. The first of 2 remaining matchups against Pittsburgh to try and crawl back into first place conversation. Kick off when we return right here on ESPN+.
Riverhounds fans, while you can't yet visit us at Highmark Stadium, you can still find all of your Riverhounds SC gear by visiting our online store. Just go to riverhounds.com and click on Shop at the top of the page to begin. This week, you can take 10% off of our fleece-lined track jacket, available in men's and youth sizes. This jacket features gold checkers down the sleeves. Visit riverhounds.com and click on Shop today.
Thanks for helping with the party, Gus.
Anytime.
Just a few last-minute things.
Let's go. Whoa. Heads up.
Whoa!
We need...
Carrots and celery.
Everything's picked fresh.
I have a fresh pick, too.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery.
With top prizes of $250 grand.
Missing anything?
Maybe some asparagus. Keep on scratching.
That's life. And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stomping on your dreams.
Wait,
And if I didn't think it was worth one try, I'd jump right on a big bird, and then I'd fly.
How do you make safe safer? We take extraordinary measures because at AHN, it's safety first, always.
As we get you ready for kickoff here in Pittsburgh, Riverhounds and Hartford just about ready to go. And we'll start things off with our Hartford lineup tonight, which is brought to you by Butte, Bevington, and Nichols. And for Hartford tonight, Gary, it's a pair of changes, mainly what it looks like up top. You've got Tyreek Johnson, Danny Barrera, Ever Guzman trying to get some goals.
Yeah, those are the 3 up front. Your 2 changes, Kevin Pollitt's coming in as an extra centre back, so Alex Dixon goes out, and Justin Hark on loan from NYCFC for Nicky Downs. As you say quite rightly, those front 3 could cause Pittsburgh a few problems here tonight.
And don't forget about Nagelstad off the bench as well. Meanwhile, for Riverhounds SC, 2 changes again. It's Steven Dos Santos who picked up a knock, so Anthony Velarde comes in and starts up top, and then with Lindstrom out, enter Patrick Bunk Anderson to make the start.
Yeah, just the 2 changes from the team that beat New York Red Bulls 3-0. So you're making changes, and you've got a team that won, coming off the back of 3-0 wins. So yeah, lots of flexibility for Pittsburgh, some wonderful players. But this is a tough match for them here today.
Our Heineken keys to the game, Gary, you're looking at Hartford trying to get themselves back defensively, and for Pittsburgh just trying to boss the game.
Yeah, for Hartford, defensive transition, they're conceding too many goals from counters. 6 goals conceded in the last 3. They've got to manage those defensive transitions better. And for Pittsburgh, they must be in control of possession. Bob Lilly saying that we're beginning to understand how to create and manage space, and that comes from being in possession.
Pittsburgh in the black and gold, Hartford in the white, and the top 2 teams in Group F underway on a Saturday night. Sam Strong working out of the back. So too is Alex Lara, who looks for the run of Barrera. This is a Pittsburgh team. The last time they met, these 2 teams, it was a quick strike from Pittsburgh. 2 goals early. They really didn't look back from there, and that's the first touch for Hawk on the ball.
Now, this is a very, very good Pittsburgh side on top form. As you say, having thumped Hartford 3-0 last time they met, just over 2 weeks ago. So still very fresh in Hartford's mind, and it's, as a professional footballer, when you get hammered, you want to come back hard the next opportunity you get. So for Hartford, very much a case of setting things right and still battling for that top spot with Pittsburgh. They do have 3 games in hand. For Pittsburgh, of course, if you've done a team once, you want to do them a second time and let them know that you're the champ, you're the boss, you're the best team. So 2 different sets of professional pride at stake here today.
Take a look at our injury report presented by K&L Gates, and you notice, of course, Canardo Forbes out. Steven Dos Santos, too, has that knock, so he's not in the 18. But without Canardo Forbes, Gary, this team is trying to find that missing link in the middle. Robbie Mertz has stepped up, and Ryan James, both in those roles in the middle, have played well.
Yeah, Canardo Forbes is such a good player. It's almost impossible to replace him at this level. So you have to move other players around, ask players to step up, like you mentioned Robbie Mertz. Anthony Velarde's come in. They'll be looking to see what he can do. And, of course, Mensah up front, a scoring machine, scored the first goal in their last match against New York Red Bulls. So it's a chance for other players to step up, but can you replace someone like Canardo Forbes? Nah, very difficult.
Still leads the USL in assists. They're hoping to have him back for the playoff run. Socially distant crowd tonight at Highmark. Hartford have played their last 5 games at home. This is their first road test since their 4-1 loss at the Indy 11.
Yeah, bad news for Hartford. If they finish second in this group and Indy win Group E, they will face Indy in the playoffs. So maybe it's an added incentive to try and finish above Pittsburgh and at least draw the 2nd seed in Group E. Mind you, by the way, the 2nd seed could be Louisville City or St. Louis.
I was going to say, it's really a thankless task regardless. Once you make the playoffs, you're into the cement mixer from Group E.
Yeah, but it's like any playoffs in any big tournament. You think of the World Cup, you get to the place, you just got to keep winning. Knock off 3 or 4 wins, and you almost got your hand on silverware. So you do get to the business end of the tournament. But right now, it is about pride. It is about who can finish first and second. And you want to make a marker as a professional. And, of course, you're playing for your place. You want the manager to look at you and think, hey, I can't leave this guy out. He's too good.
This is Ray Lee, who was with Pittsburgh 2 years ago, with Hartford last year. Danny Griffin gets to the byline. First action on this end of the pitch for Pittsburgh. James across the way to Skylar Thomas. Mertz went down in the box, and Eric Tattersall, our referee tonight, has none of it.
Yeah, not enough there, was there? But look how many white shirts were back, making it very difficult for Pittsburgh. Bodies behind the ball, and maybe Hartford a little bit aware that last time out they got 3 put past them by Pittsburgh, and they might be a little bit more defensively cagey. They do have themselves a wonderful goalkeeper in Parfait Mandanda. Seen him make some wonderful saves this season. Brings a lot of experience to the table.
Recycled back to Danny Vitiello, getting another start after putting up a pair of clean sheets during week 11. He was named to the Team of the Week bench. This is a turnover. Mensah picks it up. What can he do with it? Out wide for Mertz. Barrera, third in the USL in assists is Danny Barrera. He and King Kenny, Canardo Forbes, 2 of the top 3. Solomon Asante not too far behind, with his teammate Junior Flemings doing most of the goal scoring this year.
Well, they've been in great form, all those players you mentioned, but Junior Flemings, absolutely unbelievable. So much talent in the USL. There really is some wonderful players that are a joy to watch.
The man with the long locks in the middle of the pitch is Justin Hawk. He's the new NYCFC loanee. It's the first look at Hawk in a Hartford jersey. It was just signed earlier this week.
Big player, he looks all of 6 foot plus.
Here's Mertz with space. Out wide, Velarde.
Well, key factors we mentioned, Hartford, how good they have to be in defensive transition. Once again, getting back very, very quickly, getting bodies behind the ball, denying Pittsburgh any space in which to build their attacks.
Now Ryan James. And Keazil. Mensah gives it away.
Well, that's going to be a thankless task for Ever Guzman if every ball is just knocked into space for him to chase. But I think he understands that early on in this game, Hartford just don't want to concede early. They're going to be defensive minded and just knock long balls in the hope that the likes of Ever Guzman can just hold the ball up and bring others into play.
Certainly a tough task if you're Hartford coming into Highmark Stadium. You've got 2 games left against Pittsburgh this year. You're exactly 6 points back of them with those 3 games in hand.
Wow, they kicked it out on purpose.
And this is a chance for all players to come to the center circle. And if you've been with us in the USL, you know what this is. Because of the recent events, it's the USL Players Association expressing their wishes to peacefully protest all players coming to the center circle.
Diversity and inclusivity. By using the
So for the next minute and 46 seconds, we'll take a back seat.
46 seconds to honor the ongoing movement around social injustice and the need for positive change in our sport and in our society. What you're seeing here comes just days after the unveiling of the Black Players Alliance, an organization recognized by the USLPA with a mission to educate and empower its members to use their platforms to bring positive change to their communities.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're messing with my camera.
Great shots of a beautiful scene right next to the Fort Pitt Bridge. Players will once again get back to their standard spots, and they have to be ready to go. Just last week, right off of a throw-in, a game we were doing, Dane Kelly scored about 7 seconds in, although this will be more conventional, back to the back. So getting back to it, Gary, you see Vitiello in red there, the Pittsburgh goalkeeper. He's got 3 clean sheets now this year. He and Tomas Gomez, who's presumably the #1, although it seems to be a 1-1A situation. They're both playing at extremely high levels.
Oh, Tomas Gomez is a very, very good goalkeeper, so credit to Danny Vitiello for getting this place and holding on to it. And you're right, and if you're a manager, nothing better than to have 2 good goalkeepers fighting it up, because obviously they push each other to perform better and better in each game.
Mertz coming up the right side, gets his cross in. Mensah cushions it down. Mertz again. To the back for Lee. Strong with a heady clearance.
A good deep ball, Ray Lee getting up there and getting it almost back into play, but you can see how good Pittsburgh are early on, putting pressure on Hartford, getting balls in there. Bob Liddy's got them playing so well, and there's such a danger.
Jordan Dover. And again. Another pass from Mensah, just tried to pop it up with some English. Hartford compact so far through the first 10 minutes. First game it was James in the 11th, Danny Griffin in the 22nd for a 2-0 Pittsburgh lead. And then James scored again in the second half.
Look, they haven't seen too much of the ball, Hartford, but I don't think that bothers them at this stage. They just want to keep it tight, give, as you say, don't want to give any 11th minute goals away and then be chasing the game. And they'll start to come out of their shell later on in the game, I would guess.
Lee does well to keep it in, and he wins the corner. It's a job well done from the man who's played on both sides of this feud. Scored his only professional goal last year with Hartford. He's 27. Only one other player played more minutes than he did last year for Hartford Athletic. Mertz's in-swinger. Headed clear by Strong. Velarde miskicks it. James had it blocked. And it's out for yet another corner kick. Brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery.
Good pressure again from the hosts. A little bit unlucky there. You never know where those balls go when they get shot in. It can ricochet off legs and it can drop to a striker to finish off. But good corner in and a chance to do it all again.
This time Velarde. James chests it down, fires and scores. He scored twice against Hartford 2 weeks ago, and he opens the scoring tonight.
I guess you can say Hartford don't like to see this man, because when they do, he's generally scoring goals against them. We were just saying that you want to get past the 11th minute and not concede. Well, they didn't get much past it, did they? 12th, 13th minute. Ball doesn't get headed away from danger, gets flicked on. Let's have a look at it again. You want to head that away, and Kevin Paulitz heads it sort of into the box. But still, what a good finish there from Ryan James. Puts it into the back of the net. This is how many minutes now against Hartford? Can we say it's 103 minutes and 3 goals? That's not a bad return.
26 years old from Mississauga has his 4th goal of the season. And I'm sure he's hungry for more. That goal brought to you by the Allegheny Health Network. Well, the key, Gary, we had brought up at the beginning tonight was defensive transition for Hartford, but that came off of a set piece.
No, look, defensive transition so far anyway, they've looked neat and tight, and they've got bodies behind the ball, but You know, when you attack, when a team's as good as Pittsburgh and they attack you from different angles and crosses in the box and set pieces, you know, they're good enough to score off those as well. So you've got to defend them well. You've got to defend them properly. And Kevin Paulitz's header, and maybe he was under pressure. Maybe he couldn't get a clean header, but the header drops in the box and they get punished. So another big question is, what have Hartford got going forward?
Pittsburgh will not take their foot off the gas. Paulitz's clearance is only as far as Ryan James. And as soon as Pittsburgh scores, this game takes on a completely different look because Pittsburgh have gone a long time without giving up a goal.
I'll give you a time. I think it's 303 plus the 14 here. So 317 minutes since Pittsburgh last conceded. Wow, that is great defensive play. And if they don't concede and they score plenty, then you've got to fancy them to do extremely well in this tournament this year.
I didn't know goalkeepers were so good at math. Well done.
That's a little bit condescending. Are you saying goalkeepers aren't as clever as the rest of the team?
I think they've got to be more cerebral, right?
Absolutely. We do all the organizing. We do the thinking for the defenders.
Well, Vitiello's been a big part of that in terms of posting clean sheets now for this team 3 games in a row. For 2 goalkeepers, what is the mentality when you've got, let's say you've got another goalkeeper on your team who's fighting for that playing time. Obviously you want it yourself, but at the same time, when you're both playing well, does it fuel you to go further, or are there perhaps some nerves because you don't want to lose your job?
It's a little bit of both, but generally it fuels you to play consistently well, because you can get into a rhythm if you're the regular goalkeeper and you start to think it's a little bit easy. You know your name's on the team sheet and you just take your eye off the ball occasionally. When you got someone fighting you for that place and you know that one bad game, one wrong move when you're out, then you are incredibly focused just on playing game by game. So it's a situation that is frustrating when you're one of those keepers, and I'm sure Thomas Gomez is really uptight about it right now because he's a very good goalkeeper. But it really does focus you, and it'll be focusing Vitiello now. He doesn't want any errors. If he keeps another clean sheet, chances are he keeps his place.
30 goals for Pittsburgh entering play tonight. Second only to Phoenix. You combine that with the defense, they have become a formidable foe in the East. Hawk brings it down and turns it. Alex Lara. Lara keeps it.
Get over Ropa, he's here, get over Ropa.
Easy for Vitiello. 8 wins for Pittsburgh this year, Gary. All 8 of them have been by at least 2 goals. In their wins, on aggregate, it's 28-2.
It's been a stunning season for them, and just to repeat, if they win tonight, they are confirmed in the playoffs. They'll also have 28 points, the highest in the East. And you can go on and on. I mean, even their goal difference is 23, plus 23 at this stage of the season. I mean, it's a fantastic goal difference, 31-4-8 against. If you look at all the stats in every way, it is a wonderful performance to date. And I think it'll be the 3rd consecutive year that Bob Liddy gets him to the playoffs. But here's the thing. He'll also be thinking, as good as we are now, we need to get better and get ready for the playoffs, because there's some good teams we're going to meet.
Griffin gave chase, the Connecticut native who scored in Hartford last time.
So just taking that thinking a little step further for Bob Lilly, he'll think, well, if we win this group, we're either going to play Indy 11, Louisville City, or St. Louis. If I'm correct in those 3, then those are 3 very good teams, and you can be out in the first game of the playoffs. Bob Liddy will know there's a long way to go yet before you start talking this team up too much.
It's crowded at the top in the East. Those teams in Group E, a fierce Tampa Bay side who's being challenged by Charleston. Birmingham looks really good this year. Top level talent at the top of the USL, as it usually is. Hartford trying to make their name heard.
I think we have to mention how well Roddy JD's done at Hartford. The former Bolton and Southampton centre-back has come in and really made them into proper challengers, and it looks like they're going to get through. Even if they lose this, they should have enough of a gap to make sure they go through as a second-place team in Group F. And just getting to the playoffs will be a good achievement for this Hartford team.
It's all really measured against those expectations, isn't it? Pittsburgh gets in, they're expected to make a deep run. Hartford, who have, of course, never been to the playoffs in this their second year, they're just happy to be there. And from that point on, everything else is free cheese.
Yeah, they'll be happy to be there, but when you look at some of the players, such as Ever Guzman and Tariq Johnson, and they've got this Justin Hark, the big lad in the middle there on loan for a while, and Sam Strong and Paula to the back. It's a good team. So, you know, no reason why they can't be thinking, hang on a second, we can go further. Yes, we might come up against an Indy 11 or someone, but hey, this is playoff football. Anything's possible. So they'll be excited in that locker room. They'll be excited that there's a chance of doing something big this season.
In comes Mertz. One back well. Johnson was just looking for help. He's found it. And again, Pittsburgh looked to break. Lee with room to roam. Griffin, Mensah. Ray Lee to the top. James for Dover. Dover nearly found Mensah, and it's only headed clear by Lara for a corner.
That's a teasing ball from Dover, isn't it? It's just bent away from the keeper. It's dying on the edge of the 6-yard box. It's basically saying, somebody come and throw ahead at that. And there wasn't anyone in there for Pittsburgh, but nonetheless, a decent delivery into the box.
Pittsburgh fans, you can find your Riverhounds team gear by going to riverhounds.com and clicking on shop at the top of the page to take you to the online team store. This week's feature is water-resistant Riverhounds face masks as it's sent in, and Mandanda lays claim.
Mandanda, good pair of hands. Very, very good goalkeeper, and I think he's brought a lot to this team. He's probably been one of the best signings for Hartford. You always need a good goalkeeper at the back, but he made the USL Team of the Week in week 4. And we did mention it on a previous broadcast, but for those who don't know, parfait in France, or in French, evidently means perfect. No pressure.
See, in English, it means a really nice yogurt snack with some fruit on top. Maybe some oats. He's from France, as you said. His brother, and this is, again, also pretty common knowledge at this point, but his brother Steve is the #1 in Marseille in Ligue 1.
Yeah, part of the World Cup squad, I think, for France in 2018. So his brother should have a World Cup winner's medal.
30 years old, Mandanda. He still has shots to face tonight. He's played every minute for Hartford this year.
Now here's something that's important for Hartford. They just haven't been able to get any attacks going, haven't been able to build up, and that's obviously partly due to a very good Pittsburgh defense. But I'm watching now that they have time to actually try and keep possession and build up from the back. How are they going to keep possession, and will Pittsburgh nick it off them? go. It didn't take long for Pittsburgh to get the ball back, does it? That's half the problem for Hartford, just giving it away too cheaply.
Now they don't allow very many shots as a team defensively, so when they do, it's harder for them to climb back into a game such as this. But both of these teams know how to score. Both teams top 5 in the USL in terms of goals per game this year, with Hartford having played 3 fewer.
This experience of Ever Guzman up front, early 30s, been a top player at a number of clubs, and was leading scorer in the history of San Antonio FC, so he's good. Tariq Johnson's also good.
Mertz and Velarde run side by side. Robbie Mertz! Not too far.
Not too far, another great run. Brilliant the way they do it, Pittsburgh, and yep, gets a high five from his teammates, and quite rightly so. Cuts in off the right there, and he's got a decent left foot, and they've allowed him in, and they've allowed him to get a strike as well. And that's risky from Hartford's point of view.
Bob Lilly went out of his way this week to talk about what Robbie Mertz means to this side. And his list of compliments were seemingly endless. Here's a chance for Hartford, but the flag is up. Barrera was almost in, not to be though. Lilly said that, and this is classic Bob Lilly. He'll give you as many different synonyms as he can, and he'll never say the same thing twice. Great mentality. He's got an outstanding soccer IQ, a tremendous engine. Politz and Mandanda having trouble. That's too easy for Ropapa-Mensah, and it's 2-0.
Disaster, absolute disaster at the back. And there we were talking Mandanda up, saying he's been a big change for Hartford. He didn't take control of the situation, the goalkeeper. You've got to. You've got to come, you've got to get the ball. Defender's waiting for him, not sure is he coming. Eventually he does come, and they clash into each other. And Paulitz has got his hands up saying, keeper, what are you doing? A mess, and they're punished. And you don't want to give goals away to Pittsburgh. We know how difficult it is to score against them. So Hartford right up against it now.
Ropapa-Mensah's 5th goal of the year. Of course, it's brought to you by the Allegheny Health Network. And Bob Lilly still has about 65 minutes of coaching to do tonight, and so far, so good.
Riverhound goal.
Well, it was 11 and 22 2 weeks ago. Tonight, it's 13 and 27.
Well, both of those you can stop, but certainly the second one, of course. Everyone's going to look at the goalkeeper and say, you've got to control those situations, and it was just a giveaway goal. Total misunderstanding, or miscommunication, I should say, between Mandanda and Paulus. But even the first one, the header at the near post that wasn't dealt with properly, and it lands at the feet of Ryan James inside the box. Both those situations, I'm sure Roddy Jaidi is a top-class centre-back at the likes of Southampton, and what was it, nearly over 100 caps for Tunisia. He's going to be having a word. He's going to sit them down and say, hey, you give away goals like that, we'll win absolutely nothing.
Pittsburgh just keep coming. Velarde halts the run of Lee.
No, it's not. The new team is Hartford.
Now Griffin. Excellent ball control. Pittsburgh really bossing this game. To the middle, Mensah. James wide again. Dover with time and space. It's Dover, nowhere to go. James loops it back in. Bounces in the 6-yard box before it's finally cleared by Lara.
Good possession by Pittsburgh, and you mentioned one of the keys at the start was the Pittsburgh Riverhounds be good in possession.
Yeah,
I think they've achieved their key. They are excellent in possession, moving it from left to right, making Hartford chase, opening up gaps and keeping possession. And as I say that, they give away possession, but generally they have really bossed the game, and it's been very, very good play by Pittsburgh.
They win it right back. They're coming hard and fast. Hawk with the interception this time, but Mensa wins it back. Ball is pinging around in every which direction right now, but it seems to end up on Pittsburgh's side. And yet again, they'll have a corner.
Yeah,
it's their fourth.
They're winning all the little battles, aren't they, Bob Lilly's team? And that's got to be a concern for Roddy Jaidi. He's got to get this Hartford team pushing forward. Right now, they're just defending and not able to build any decent attacks.
Velarde in. James shunned off by Lara, who wins the throw. And since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com as we hit our hydration break. And Gary, this is a 30-minute whooping right now, to say the least, which gives us a chance to look at really what's at stake in terms of the broad scope of the East. So if you break this down, a win for Pittsburgh tonight would make them, albeit with one extra game, the best team in the Eastern Conference. And Hartford, who have had a good season, still have a lot to prove, but you can see, like we were talking about, how many good teams there are in these four Eastern Conference groups.
Oh, absolutely. Some fantastic teams there. And you mentioned the likes of Charleston Battery. They've been in great form. Birmingham Legion have been excellent. Tampa Bay Rowdies, as always, have put up a wonderful team. But yeah, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, not only will they go top with a win, which is beginning to look increasingly likely, but look at their goal difference. It was 23 before this game. You can add 2 more, so it's 25 now. So way ahead of Tampa Bay or anybody else. It really is a brilliant, brilliant performance to date, but it doesn't mean to say you're going to win anything.
Well, and as you looked at that graphic, you saw how many teams are competing for the best records in the East, but the top 2 teams from each group will make it to the playoffs, and it doesn't appear that there are that many teams who are on the outside looking in who still have a chance that remain. Now you've got your 3 teams in Group E where only 2 will come out, right? Indy 11, Louisville City, and St. Louis. And then maybe you could see your way to putting North Carolina or Memphis into the mix, but they've got to make up 9 points on Charlotte with just a game or 2 games in hand.
Yeah, that's more unlikely, but certainly the group with Indy 11, Louisville City, and St. Louis, I want to keep an eye on that because that is probably going to go right down to the wire, and those are 3 extremely good teams. But just to focus on Hartford for a moment as they lose possession, my point was going to be they need to keep more possession. They need to build opportunities. They haven't really tested Vitiello with anything. And they're 2-0 down, so even more reason why they need possession. And it just has been a very, very poor offensive performance in this first 33 minutes.
Pittsburgh, who has been so hard to break down, did lose a 2-goal lead on this pitch just a couple of weeks ago. They were up 2 on St. Louis. Gave 1 back right before halftime. Gabby Torres haven't really called his name tonight. Lost the ball, James sends it wide. See how difficult it is for Hartford to be winning the ball back.
That's why it's important that when you get it, you don't lose it. Because you're 100% right. It's very difficult to get it back. But then they've been giving away poor passes. In fact, everything that's gone wrong has been their own fault. A poor header at the near post for the Ryan James goal. That takes nothing away from Ryan James, by the way. It's a great strike. The goalkeeper, Mandander, and Paulet's getting into an absolute mess for the second goal. And then constantly throughout this game, ball possession being given away. Now, they can still turn it around, Hartford. So before the Hartford fans want to sort of start texting me and getting upset, I'm only telling them the way it is. It doesn't mean to say that they can't turn it around, start keeping possession and get back in the match. But they need to do something, and I would suggest they need to do it reasonably soon.
Did you put your phone number in an ad in the? I'm not sure. It's in the Hartford newspaper. Is that what you did?
You know, social media these days, people can get hold of you.
Gary Bailey's giving out his Twitter account tonight.
Look, I've said nice things about both sides because they are actually both playing very, very well. But there's no question that Hartford have been absolutely outplayed, and I can't see anything they're doing at the moment that shows me that they're going to bounce back in this game. But they've got time to prove me wrong.
70-30. Those are the possession numbers through the first half an hour and change.
Do you have anything on shots on target?
I've got it all for you, Gary. It's 2-0, which is the score. Would make it an extremely efficient night for Pittsburgh, putting up their shots. That's certainly something that they're familiar with. They've got the best conversion rate in the USL. And it's not even close, by the way. Conversion rate being the number of shots that you put on target that end up in the back of the net. 24% for Hartford. That's 7% better than anybody else in the league.
For Hartford?
Did I say Hartford?
Yes.
Sorry, for Pittsburgh.
Right. Very good. Very impressive. And even shots on target. I mean, sorry, shots in total. Not on target. Shots in total. 5 for Pittsburgh and 0 for Hartford. So yeah, you might miss the target. It might not, you know, end up being a goal. But at least you're getting shots at the goal, which is what Pittsburgh have done. Hartford 0. You're not going to score if you don't get shots on target. And that's what they need to improve on very, very soon.
See how high the press is for Pittsburgh. And again, they nearly turn Hartford over, but now Hartford have a chance to run with numbers. Guzman gets his first touch of the ball on this end of the field. Guzman tries to drop it back, and Hartford finally have something where they can set up an opportunity in a dangerous spot.
Gabriel Torres there winning the free kick, and you're 100% right. Doesn't matter how you score. It can be from a set piece. You can grind it out. Doesn't matter. You've got to get yourself back in the match. Now, good opportunity here for Hartford, and let's see if they can use it.
Remember, Rogers hit a ball not too far from this spot against Loudon that we showed you. Instead, it's Barrera who goes back post, and Strong tried to climb the ladder by grabbing onto Thomas's shoulders and then kicked the ball out of bounds. And that'll be the first caution of the night.
Well, to say that's a silly caution is stating the obvious, but Sam Strong, what are you doing? You've only got to mistime a tackle now. You get a second yellow, you're sent off, and your team's already 2-0 down. Those are the little mistakes that they're making here at Hartford. It must be so frustrating for Roddy Jaidi. And Sam Strong has got to be very, very careful. Now, I know he didn't mean to kick it out, but just don't even give the referee an opportunity to give you that yellow card.
Mensah, Velarde, Mensah, Ropapa Mensah, and it's Tame. And after the shot, Eric Tattersall points to the spot. It's a penalty, and Pittsburgh have a chance to go up 3 before the halftime break.
I'd like to see what happened. I saw a lot of bodies coming together. We'll look at it in slow motion here. Mensah so powerful, gets the ball through Valerde. Yeah, he pulls it back, and between the two defenders, they bring Valerde down, or Velarde rather, and that, in the eyes of the referee, is a penalty. And once again, it's of Hartford's own doing.
There is a Hartford player down. 2 of them, actually. Looks like Lara is one of them when they collided.
That's just adding salt to the injury, isn't it? That you give away a penalty when your 2 defenders bring down Velarde, and then they get injured in the process. But again, I think one has to credit Pittsburgh. We can pick on perhaps some of the frailties of Hartford in defense here. But look at Mensah powering the ball through. Velarde back heels it there and tempts the defenders to bring him down. It's such clever play.
It was Lara and Politz who collided with each other, and then you add Velarde into the mix, and there were 6 different studs that were going for the ball that probably ended up catching some meat as well. So Anthony Velarde, who drew the penalty, will look to net Pittsburgh's 4th PK of the year and take a 3-0 lead. Velarde to the right, and everything's going right for Pittsburgh tonight. 3-0.
Certainly is. Masterclass performance. Same score they beat Hartford by when they last met. Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Velarde tucks it into that corner. It really has been superb. All the metrics, everything you want to measure this game by, it has been Pittsburgh all the way. And their fans must be super excited about the playoffs, because with this win, and you assume it's going to be a win, with this win that is very likely, they will have cemented their place in the playoffs.
That man won't be pleased until the 0 on Hartford's score remains permanent. Still another 45 minutes. You know that he's more concerned about the clean sheet than the number of goals they score, although at this point, with 3 goals, there may be more to come tonight. Velarde gets his 5th of the year. After drawing the penalty. Is it a formational change now, Gary? Is there a substitution you can make? What do you do to get your side going offensively?
Look, you have to make some substitutions at some stage, but they've just been outplayed in every part of this park. They've just been giving the ball away. Maybe you bring on someone who's a little bit, better at keeping possession. Jorgensen, perhaps, and Nicky Downs. They've also got Nagelstad. They do have players they can bring on, and I think you have to early on in the second half, if not at halftime, certainly early on second half, just because you need to bring in some fresh energy. It's just nothing has worked first half for Hartford.
Just hitting and hoping at this point, and it's catching practice for Vitiello.
Now, this is often where as a player you're just thinking, you know what, let's just get to halftime and let the manager have a chat with us, make a few changes, rev us up a little bit. We go out second half and try and turn it around, because the energy level has dropped for Hartford. Their heads are down. It's just been a really, really tough first half, and probably not that much different when they were beaten 3-0 before. They know Pittsburgh are a tough team. They defended well the first 12, 13 minutes, and then since then it's all gone to pieces for them.
Well, Roddy Jaidi certainly has a lot to talk about in the halftime locker room. As you see Politz, who got crunched during the tackle that ultimately led to Pittsburgh's third goal. He's being worked on, which means Hartford are playing with 10 men right now for the remainder of the half.
Well, if he is struggling with an injury, the one thing they can do is go to a flat back four and just have the two center backs, Sam Strong and Mateus Silva, and then bring an extra body in midfield. So the sort of changes might happen automatically without the manager having to work it out. He might just decide, well, if Paulitz is injured, then I'll just make that change, and maybe a flat back four will help.
Lee sends Velarde forward. He wins the throw. And that will be it for Politz. So in comes Alex Dixon, which is not a like-for-like change. Your prediction, Gary, comes to fruition. Indeed, it's offense in and defense out, albeit because of an injury. So you see 5 added minutes here in this first
There
half.
will be a minimum of 5 minutes stoppage time at the end of the first half. A minimum of a 5 minute stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Mensah around a bunch of bodies, chipped in. It runs through. Lee has been busy on the left wing. And again, he wins the throw. Beautiful footwork from Griffin. Lee curls it in. It falls to Griffin, who drops it back for Velarde. It takes a deflection, and it's out for another corner.
Again, good pressure from Pittsburgh. It's not like they're saying it's 3-0, we've done our job, we're just going to chill. They're still putting the pressure on, and Velarde is really impressed here, earning the penalty, scoring the penalty, just being dangerous around the edge of the box. And you add in Ryan James and his ability to score, and there's so many threats that come from this Pittsburgh side.
Mandanda with a half-hearted punch. This is a team that almost looks, and this is no disrespect to Canardo Forbes, but they almost look like a more improved team now, despite the fact that he's not on the pitch.
Well, I don't know. I think any team with Canardo Forbes is better to have him in the team. But I take what you say. I
gave you the caveat ahead of time. Lee with a curler, and Mandanda lets it go.
I think what you're saying is valid, though, that they've plugged up the gap by him not being there, and they've plugged it up so well you almost don't know that he's missing. But he can turn a game, and especially when you start getting to the playoffs and you're playing better teams, with all due respect to Hartford, you're going to need Canardo Forbes.
And Keazil directing traffic as he does so well. He's the only player for Pittsburgh that's played every minute. Mensah giving chase, and this time Mandanda stronger on his line.
Have we mentioned players like Skylar Thomas and Bunk Anderson playing in defense for Pittsburgh?
Not yet tonight,
No.
because there haven't been that many opportunities in that direction.
That just tells you what the problem is for Hartford. They're just not able to get any pressure on that back four at all, and that is a major concern for Roddy Jaidi.
Wonder if Alex Dixon can help create that trouble. Van Keazil and Guzman bumped. Thomas able to clear it. Given away, though, by Barrera, and Mensah will run forward. Strong tracking him down. Papa Mensah being tugged at. 4 of the 5 added minutes elapsed in the first half.
Get it up.
Rogers.
Get your shape. Get some pressure on the ball. Come on, Ropa. Tuck in, Ropa. Look at those guys in the middle. It's a new goal. Solid. Hey, we're solid.
Lara.
See, it's football that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I'm sorry to Hartford fans if I'm picking on them, but I'm sure they're equally frustrated, saying, get the ball forward into danger areas. We're 3-0 down. There's a couple of seconds left, and we're playing it in our half. It doesn't help.
The talking to at halftime is likely to be stern in the Hartford locker room. Fortunately, we won't be there, but we'll see the result of it when we come back for the second half. It's halftime, and it's a blowout. 3-0 Pittsburgh take the lead into the halftime locker room. We've got stats and highlights, plus a look around the rest of the USL when we come back. Halftime at Highmark.
Well, they didn't get much past it, did they? 12.
This time, Velarde. James chests it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
That's so cute.
She's gonna have some nice big cheeks.
Yeah.
Healthy is happening right now at AHN. Call 412 Doctors to schedule an appointment.
Thanks for helping with the party, Gus.
Anytime.
Just a few last-minute things.
Let's go. Whoa. Heads up.
Whoa!
We need
Carrots and celery.
Everything's picked fresh.
I have a fresh pick, too.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery.
With top prizes of 250 grand.
Missing anything?
Maybe some asparagus. Keep on scratching.
Riverhounds fans, while you can't yet visit us at Highmark Stadium, you can still find all of your Riverhounds SC gear by visiting our online store. Just go to riverhounds.com and click on Shop at the top of the page to begin. This week, you can take 10% off of our fleece-lined track jacket, available in men's and youth sizes. This jacket features gold checkers down the sleeves. Visit riverhounds.com and click on Shop today.
Heineken halftime report at Highmark Stadium as these two teams will talk it over. We will send it to Devin Kerr, who's going to give us this week's edition, midweek edition of The Dish.
Tuesday to Friday, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, Week 12, The Dish. Austin Bold and FC Tulsa. Let's run it back, baby. Same result? No, definitely not. Dario Suarez, he's going to bag number 6. He's going to get number 7. I'm all about the celly at the tail end of this, though. Well done. Johnny on the spot. No, his name is Dario. Dario Suarez, not Johnny. Smooth sailing. Pulling back the bow. Love it. But again, as I've said in previous games, 90 minutes, right? Second half performance by Austin Bold. Not to be outdone by FC Tulsa. Guadarrama, penalty mark. Fabian Garcia. He's got a little celly of his own. Where's the camera? Where's the There he is. We see you. We see you. 2-2, Austin Bold, FC Tulsa. 6 draws on the year for both of those teams. That's best in the USL Championship? I don't know. Switch it up. Group E, Indy, Sporting Kansas City 2. No Deviel Hackshaw. No Tyler Pasher. Nick Moon. Yeah, no problems. No problems here whatsoever. And to be fair, it wasn't the greatest of games for Indy 11. Nice to see them getting back on track. They had really looked poor in the past couple of games. Nick Moon in the 6th. Raffanello gets his first in Indy 11 uniform in the 63rd. Tyler Freeman actually gets one in the 88th. Sporting Kansas City 2 did equalize. Some controversy at the tail end of this. Referee says no. We say no. Indy say yes. 3 points. You know who else says no? Is Orange County and Sean Okoli. Goal after goal for the man out in the Western Conference. It just seems like everything he touches turns to goals. Not gold. That's Willy Wonka style. This is Sean Okoli. Stay with me. Orange County. Roro Lopez. That is very bad. Very, very bad. Red card. No good. Bad man. 10 men. 10. I said 10. Listen to me. 10 men. Sacramento Republic. Formella in the 79th. And it can't be. The villain at the tail end of this. Villian Bijev. 87th minute. 10 men, Sacramento Republic, better chances. Orange County SC, better play, but in the second half, they battened down the hatches, did not look good. Good on Marks Briggs' boys. Let's go to the last one. Friday night, again, Tuesday to Friday, we're stretching it out for you here. Charleston Battery dismantled the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Don't look at the score sheet. It was amazing. The shape-shifting that was Mike Anhauser, Zaragoza up top, Chichero in the middle, Rittmeyer on the left, Zico Lewis. Yeah, that's right. The man from Bermuda. 54th minute. You see what happened is I went right. He went like this. I went like that. He was like, where'd he go? I said, where'd you go? Charleston Battery almost at the top of Group F. 3 points for them, only 3 behind the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Game in hand. Look at everything else that's gone around the USL Championship. Red Bull hang a 6th spot on Union 2. San Diego Loyal 3 on the road at Los Dos. Good for you, Landon Donovan. Portland Timbers 2 get their first win of the week. Real Monarchs get their second win back-to-back style against the Switchbacks FC. Not exactly sure what's going on out there in Widener. Of course, this is on the road, but still, you get what I'm saying. 901 FC at the tail end of it against North Carolina FC. You have to imagine both those teams are packing in Group G. Yeah, you know, not really sure how that's going to work. Phoenix Rising, 5 spot on Las Vegas Lights. Lights off. Thanks for joining the dish.
I saw Kevin Kerr pop about 5 caffeine pills before he did that highlight segment. And now it's time for us to take a look at what else is going on around the rest of the USL. It's out-of-town scores when we come back.
The United Soccer League and its 47th championship in League One clubs stand united in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can create change. Together, we are united against racism.
Over to Richards. Left foot, and Brett Richards with an amazing strike. On the right foot, a curling effort. Oh, what a goal for the Battery!
Saved and cleared off the line. What a play by Tam Pocket.
Thought he might have been pulled back. Play continues.
Shot is lined up here. Oh, it's fantastic. Sensational. Floats this to the back post. What a save. Romero denies Orozco.
Nice recovery. Suarez eyes on Restrepo. Ooh, fires one home. FC Tulsa strikes first in the opening half hour.
For this organization.
Here's a shot, and it curls near post at the death.
How do you make safe safer? We take extraordinary measures because at AHN, it's safety first, always.
It's the Heineken halftime report at Highmark Stadium. 3-0 your score. Pittsburgh leading Hartford. And now we can take a look at our out-of-town scores. Brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. A lot of games going on right now. Several more games to be played later on tonight. It's a standard Saturday night in the USL. Phoenix's win yesterday was pretty, I would say that was pretty big win for them. 5-1. Certainly aggressive. Loudoun and Union 2 are tied at the half in Group F. And our upcoming schedule, which is brought to you by Jack Daniels. Gary Bailey, anything in particular that stands out to you?
Oh, Indy 11, Louisville City. What a match that is.
Say.
And obviously a great importance to Pittsburgh and Hartford as well, because they're likely to play against one of those two teams. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. Tampa Bay should get the better of Atlanta United too. And Miami FC just trying to get something from their season. Tough match for them against Birmingham Legion.
Hartford fans, make sure you look in your rear view mirror Wednesday against Red Bulls 2. You don't win tonight and Red Bull get a result. All of a sudden, we're talking about a race for that second playoff spot, with Red Bulls being 7 points back entering play tonight. These are your standings in Group F, brought to you by K&L Gates. This is what I'm talking about. I know they've got 2 games in hand, Gary, but anything can happen.
Look, New York Red Bulls have got some wonderful young players, and they eventually get strengthened or occasionally get strengthened from the first team. So, yeah, they could put a run together very easily, which is why it's so important for Roddy Jaidi to get his team to turn around in the second half. Look, they might not win this game. In fact, it's unlikely they'll win it, but they certainly want a better second half performance.
Highlights. Most of them Pittsburgh's highlights when we come back. And then the second half kickoff.
His is the oldest registered distillery in the United States. From a place where the water is cool, clean, and iron-free. Perfect for making Tennessee whiskey. Charcoal mellowed drop by drop for smooth sipping. Which is not the easy way. But it's his way.
Riverhounds fans, while you can't yet visit us at Highmark Stadium, you can still find all of your Riverhounds SC gear by visiting our online store. Just go to riverhounds.com and click on Shop at the top of the page to begin. This week, you can take 10% off of our fleece line track jacket, available in men's and youth sizes. This jacket features gold checkers down the sleeves. Visit riverhounds.com and click on Shop today.
Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public.
How about we take a look at our first half highlights, brought to you by Pennsylvania Lottery. We talked about how Pittsburgh have been dominating this game. Hartford came out strong defensively for the first 12 minutes, Gary, and then it was off of a set piece that James scored his 3rd goal against Hartford this year.
Oh, it's a lovely strike from James. Takes it, but that header there from Paulitz has got to be a better header. Maybe he was under a lot of pressure. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair to him, but I thought he got a clean head to that. You got to head it clear of trouble. He didn't. James pounced on it and punished him.
Parfait Mandanda will have one that he would like back. It's this bouncing ball headed his direction.
Yeah, he's got to take control of it, and he gets himself into a real mess with Paulitz there, and Mensah says, thank you very much. If you're going to give me goals, I'm not going to say no. I'll stick that into an empty net. And for me, it's a goalkeeper's control there. He's got to manage that situation much better than he did.
And then just before halftime, this is really what brought this game out of hand. Velarde goes down, Mensah can't finish, so Eric Tattersall awards the penalty, and Velarde takes it himself.
Yeah, Alex Lara and Paulitz bringing Velarde down, and nice to see him take it. I sometimes think when you win a penalty, you should actually get to take it, and he deserves that in a complete controlling performance by Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
That tells the
Yep.
whole story right
Yep.
there. KNL Gates halftime stats. The possession is one thing, the shots are another.
Well, it's all zeros in that column under Hartford, and I don't think the coach, Jaidi, needed us to tell him that. It's been a horrible first half, but they can turn it around and at least put up a better performance in their second half.
That was the first time in 3 weeks, by the way, that Hartford was called offside. And they just never really got going towards the goal. See if they can turn that around here in the second half as the sun has set at Highmark Stadium, and Hartford will make another substitution. Remember, they made one prior to halftime. This halftime sub does not count as one of their 3 windows where they can make a sub.
Hartford Athletic substitution.
It looks like Sam Strong's come off, maybe because of the yellow he was on, and Nicky Downs has come in, so maybe that's also going to be a part tactical substitution. Certainly, Roddy Jaidi saying, hey, I'm changing things, I'm mixing it up, and the 2 center backs, Paulitz and now Sam Strong, are both out, so maybe a little subtle suggestion to them that they haven't defended well enough first half. Although Paulitz one, to be fair, was an injury, but there were question marks over his defending on some of the goals. So all in all, let's just put that first half behind us from a Hartford point of view. Let the Pittsburgh fans enjoy the 3 goals, and let's see if Hartford can make this a tighter and closer contest in the second half.
Of course, it's an uphill battle, but it's one that Hartford would like to at least show that they've got some fight in them against a team that's looking poised to win their group.
Well, it's sort of a standard conversation that I've had many times as a professional when you have been losing badly. I won't say that sounds like I've been in many bad teams, but you know what I mean? Even good teams, you get bad days, and the manager will say the same thing. Look, you got hammered first half. I'm not interested. You're not going to win this game probably, but I want you to win the second half. That's what I want you to do, and that's a good starting spot.
More trouble in the back. Mandanda gave it away. James with another tap in. He's got 2 for the second time against Hartford, and this game is a runaway freight train.
It's another gift. It's another mess in defense. I don't know if Mandanda was as much to blame this time, but this sort of communication between goalkeeper and defense has just not really worked that well, and they've made the changes at the back to try and reduce this. Goalkeeper comes out, doesn't pick it up. Defenders are trying to get the ball, and was that Alex Lara coming back? He looks at the goalkeeper as well. Have a look here. The goalkeeper's got to dive on that and hold it. You can't come out with your feet because you lose control of the ball, and they've been punished.
I think that touch from Lara would have been deemed a pass, and thus, because it wouldn't have been inadvertent, Mandanda wouldn't have been able to pick it up. I think he might have had to go in with his feet.
Perhaps, but as a keeper, I would rather dive in it and have it in my hands and risk the goal, the referee saying, okay, it's an indirect free kick, than have the ball rolling loose inside my 6-yard box. But your point is valid. It might have made him think that he needed to kick it. Either way, it's another awful mess in that Hartford defense.
Hartford moving forward for the first time. This is as deep as they've come all game, and they win their first corner of the night. It's a corner kick presented by the Pennsylvania Lottery. By the way, as long as we're talking about keepers, that man, Gary Bailey, has allowed 4 goals to King Kenny Dalglish in his career. Spencer Siegel, I've allowed 0 goals to King Kenny Dalglish in my career.
And you played how many games for Manchester United again?
I didn't find myself on the stat sheet. Mertz went down. He's still down. He got hit hard. If the wind wasn't taken out of him, then something else was. That looked extremely painful. This is another look at the goal. Let's take a look at this touch from Lara and see if, well, let's see what you think the referee would have deemed here. It's the second touch right here.
Because he's trying to trap the ball as opposed to pass it back. But if you come as Mandanda, you have to clear the ball. You can't, I don't know. It's a tricky one. He's put his goalkeeper in a very difficult position. But the goalkeeper hasn't responded well. And maybe you can put it down as unlucky, but then you look at the second goal where Mandanda and Paulet's got themselves in a mess. That was the second goal. That was a giveaway. The near post header by Paulet that didn't clear the box, and you suddenly come up with mistakes for 4 goals. It's too many errors. And again, their manager was a top-class centre-half, Roddy Jaidi. He didn't give away too much, and he'll be fuming, I would guess.
Pittsburgh are not taking their foot off the gas tonight. They're coming for more. Velarde can't get to it. Lara clears it. Hartford allowing 4 goals for the second time this season. The other came in their loss at Indy 11. Remember, this is just their 3rd road game of the season. They opened with a win at Red Bulls 2 back in July. Mostly, though, it's been Dillon Stadium that have hosted their games. They have not looked like the same team tonight. Hearts is taken down by Downs. There's Roddy Jaidi in the back.
His body language doesn't look too positive, does it? He's just slouched back, thinking, what is going on here? And if you look at the goal difference, it's -1 for Hartford. So as well as they've done this season, they've conceded more than they've scored, which is, it's never a good position to be in, especially if your aim is to go on to playoffs and beat some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference.
Well, it's really the difference being the quality of their opponents and their wins compared to their losses. This, barring something miraculous, will be their 3rd loss of the season, all 3 having been to Pittsburgh, and Indy, with their wins coming against Union 2, Red Bulls 2, Loudoun again.
Yep, point taken. When they come up against really good teams, they struggle. But they're good enough to get into the playoffs, and then it's cup football. So if you're a Hartford fan, you're thinking, well, yeah, hasn't been a good day, but it doesn't mean to say we can't go on and get some glory from this season.
Hertz tries to turn it. Mensah was certainly tugged at, but the foul. Indeed, it does go the way of Hartford. Prior to the shirt pull. Dixon trying to hold up play on the ball for the first time. Dixon goes down, and the start of the second half for a 4-0 game, Gary, is pretty physical.
Oh, they're a hard side physically, Pittsburgh. They get stuck in, they challenge you, they high press you, they make it a difficult match, and credit to them. At 3-0, they haven't come out and gone, we're going to cruise. They've got a 4th goal, and they're going to work Hartford right to the very end. This is a Bob Lilly side, and that's how he likes his teams to play. Well organized, hard-working, good in possession. For Hartford, they've just got to take lessons and learn and improve.
So confident in possession. And in no hurry.
Silver's like $28. Any money in closing, sucked away.
Poetry in motion tonight for Pittsburgh. Lee keeps it. Cleared by Silva. And Caazil plays it right back.
Too easy for Caazil to get that ball, wasn't it? And to start another attack. Every time it comes out, it's almost inevitably Pittsburgh who get on the ball and win possession and put the pressure back on. Now let's see what Hartford can do now.
Torres looking for help. Takes on 3 men himself and keeps it. And tried to slip it through and turned it over, looking for Guzman. Velarde. Pittsburgh fans, you can find your Riverhounds team gear by going to riverhounds.com and clicking on Shop at the top of the page to take you to the online team store. This week's feature is a water-resistant Riverhounds face mask. Hartford fans might be able to use the water-resistant face mask from the tears coming down their face tonight.
Oh,
it has been just a brutal night.
That's nasty.
Only speaking the truth.
Well, you did make another good point recently, which is if they lose against New York Red Bulls in their next match, then suddenly Red Bulls are right up close and threatening them. So this could still turn sour. At least Hartford are at home against Red Bulls, but as you say, if they lose that, then the possibility of not making it becomes real. And we were talking before this game, if they beat Pittsburgh, then Hartford could finish top. Well, lose this and lose the next one, and you might not make it at all. So there's still work to be done for Radi Jaidi, and he's got to be looking at getting something more from his players in the second half to tee them up for the next home game. Oh, and as I say, that's the pass they get. It just has been a horrible match so far for Hartford.
Look, you can talk all you want about 3 games in hand. They've got 3 games in hand. That's 3 extra chances to get points. At the end of the day, if you don't get those points, then you're not going to the playoffs. And looking at their remaining schedule, talking about the number of home games they've played already, and this just being their 3rd road game of the year, they do have 2 more games at Dillon Stadium this year, one against 3rd place Red Bulls 2. But they finished the season with 4 straight on the road. Their final game of the year, October 4th, at Red Bulls 2.
Ooh, that could be a decider.
Lee wants the corner, and he gets it. Fans, don't miss a minute of action in 2020. Sign up today. Get alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds or Hartford Athletic, and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on your club's next match. Go to ESPN.com now. Click follow for your club. Pennsylvania Lottery corner kick driven in low through everybody. I don't think it touched a soul. Goal kick.
Not the best defending at that near post. You've got to get rid of that sort of ball. Allowing it into the box. Very lucky they didn't get punished for that. I'm just looking at the stats coming through. 9 shots for Pittsburgh, 0 for Hartford. Not a single shot. Never mind off target, just not a single shot. It's just, it has to change. If you're the coach, you've got to be thinking, guys, you've got to give me something before the end of the game.
Encroaching on 360 minutes for Pittsburgh without having allowed a goal. They're on one of those defensive streaks. We know what Bob Lilly can do with his side. They're rounding into form at the right time. Dover comes forward, now Velarde. Back for Dover, Velarde was offside.
Nice creative play, good give and goes. Yeah, they give each other a high five there, and why not? It's lovely play, and they're keeping possession the whole time. This is the difference. They're running at Hartford, keeping possession, getting towards the edge of the box, and yeah, it doesn't always work out, but they're threatening.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, well, I don't think you need to say more about those sort of passes. It's not working out for Mateus Silva and company in this match, and that's the second time in the last 5 minutes he's done that, and now the tempers start to fray.
Well, Tattersall show Johnson yellow. Looks like it's just a talking to. Don't do it again, or you'll get a yellow. Okay, yes, I understand. Pittsburgh still coming. Mensah, he's got another one. It's too easy tonight. It's 5. Pittsburgh running all over the place.
Yeah, lovely creative play once again, as it has been throughout, running at the defense, able to play dangerous balls through the middle, and the defense, gaps everywhere in that Hartford defense. They really have been punished by Pittsburgh. You see all the smiles there, and why not? Mensah getting a couple of goals here tonight. But just look how simple this is. Robbie Mertz, just a flick on ball through. There's enough white shirts there to defend it. But credit Robbie Mertz with a lovely, lovely pass. And Mensah over the keeper. Wow, what a performance.
So now, with half an hour to go, if you're looking for some storylines, first of all, Pittsburgh will be bringing in some substitutions. The question is, will Ropapa Mensah or Ryan James take a seat? Both of them are on a hat trick now. They've each got 2 goals.
Pittsburgh Riverhound goal is second of the game, scored by number 3, Ropapa Mensah.
Entering play yesterday,
number 14, Robbie.
Phoenix and Pittsburgh had scored the same number of goals. Phoenix scored 5 last night. Pittsburgh says anything you can do. Trying to get 6 now.
I just feel sorry for the likes of Ever Guzman and Tariq Johnson and the strikers for Hartford, who haven't had any service, they haven't had any opportunities. They spent their time getting behind the ball, trying to defend, which you're prepared to do if you get some service and you can show what you can do in attack, but there just that opportunity hasn't arisen for them. Must be a horrible day's work if you're a striker and you don't get one effort anywhere near goal.
A pass from Mertz, by the way, that was the first assist of the night amongst the 5 goals. Because of some of the mistakes in the back. Mertz's 3rd assist of the year, and here come a slew of subs. We'll be seeing Aiden Macias and Edon Cohen. Tyreek Johnson was the invisible man tonight, and that's not like him. He's a solid piece coming over on loan from Southampton.
Yeah, he's capable of much better than we've seen tonight from him. It's just not been a good day for him. Maybe part of still settling in after coming from the UK, but if you can play for Southampton and you can be part of their sort of reserve team, you should be able to perform a lot better than what we've seen from him today.
Lindstrom and Dikwa. Velarde will come off, and I believe I saw Skylar Thomas's name as well. So that means both James and Mensah stay on. There goes Velarde, who scored the 3rd goal tonight, the penalty.
Well, looking forward to seeing Dikwa play. Seen him play
Hartford
often enough
athletic substitutions.
for St. Louis. And he's a good striker, very quick, cause all sorts of problems. So it's not like it's getting any easier for Hartford.
Number 25, Eden Cohen. In for number
Deekwood, the
88,
Cameroonian,
Barry
did score
Johnson.
in his team debut about a week and a half ago. Lindstrom is just another piece of that puzzle in the back that Bob Lilly can play with. He's got a lot of toys back there. Downs looking to create. Hartford looking for their first shot of the night.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds substitutions. Number 2, Mark Lindstrom. In for number 34,
number
Skylar
9.
Thomas. And number 9, Albert
Lindstrom,
Equa.
number 2.
Number 15, Anthony.
Both getting involved.
Valare.
Lee gives chase. He's got Mensah in the middle. And Mundanda dropped it, then picked it back up. There is plenty of time
Hartford athletic substitutions. Number 23,
for a hat trick tonight.
Macias. In for number 10, Danny Barrera.
Just had a USL hat trick last weekend. Dane Kelly put up 3 in a 3-0 win for Charlotte at home against North Carolina.
We work together.
What have you seen from Justin Hawk so far, the new addition from NYCFC? He hasn't had much of a chance to get on the ball.
He hasn't. It's a good question, and I was thinking about that a moment ago, that I hadn't seen enough.
Here he, right past him, number 80 there.
If you're coming from NYCFC, I'm assuming that you've got a lot of talent, otherwise you wouldn't be in that squad. Yes, they're not ready to put him in the first team or anything, but they see him as a potential for the future. He's done nothing that I've seen that has impressed me as yet. Now, sure, he's fitting into a new team, etc., but if you're that good, I expect you to sort of stamp your authority on the match and spray the ball around. He hasn't done that, Justin Hawk. There he is.
Turns 19 years old today. Happy birthday, Justin.
Well, he's still got 24 minutes in which he can show us that he is a quality player with a bright future.
From Brooklyn, 3rd ever homegrown signing for NYCFC. Bunk Anderson boots it clear.
Oh, you'd think you've got to be some talent for NYCFC to sign you up. So come on, young man, show us what you can do. It's good pressure here from Hartford, something that, a little something that the coach can take away and be happy with. The white shirts are pressurizing. Whether that's just Pittsburgh just taking their foot off the pedal because this match is all wrapped up, or whether that is Hartford beginning to play the way their fans were hoping they'd play from the beginning, I don't know. But at least the manager can point to something from this match, some little silver lining.
And Kayazil with a calm head to Vitiello, who deserved to be on the team of the week. Made the bench squad last week with his 2 clean sheets. This is about as easy a clean sheet as it gets for a guy like Vitiello tonight if this score holds.
Oh, he hasn't been tested at all. Not a single thing. So I assume he keeps his place for the next match, because if you don't have anything to do, how does the manager drop you? But if you're going to look at players, then Ryan James, as his goals have been excellent. Mensah has been super sharp. Those two have taken their goals really well, courtesy of some horrendous defending at times. But if anyone's going to make the USL Team of the Week, I certainly would put those 2 names forward for suggestion.
Dikwa with some shifty moves. Kept in play by Torres. He was fouled. Did you ever have any games like that where, look, I know it was the top flight in England, so you were likely to have teams that got off at least one shot every time, but did you ever have games where you just didn't feel like you were a part of the action?
Yeah, it can be, especially playing for a club like Man United, where you can dominate teams, especially at home. But I think as a professional goalkeeper, you're always ready for that one moment when the opposition do break away. And I'm sure Vitiello's thinking exactly the same. Don't lose concentration. Hartford might just have one chance. And, you know, especially when you're batting for a place with a goalkeeper as good as Thomas Gomez, then you don't want to give the manager any reason to put Gomez back in. So Vitiello will be concentrating, no question about that. I just wonder if the likes of Indy 11 and Louisville City and St. Louis will be thinking, oh, we hope we don't get drawn with Pittsburgh, because this team is good enough to knock any of those three out. And having said that, those three could knock Pittsburgh out, so it should be a hell of a playoff game.
Downs off the turnover, gives it right back. What's the best matchup of those three teams for Pittsburgh, and then what's the worst matchup?
Difficult to say, depends on who's on form, but Louisville City, they're always such a team when it gets to the playoffs. They just raise it to a whole another level, so you probably wouldn't want to play them. Indy 11 have already put Pittsburgh to the sword.
Mensah's looking for a hat trick. Ropapa Mensah tried to cross it. Comes to Lee. Ray Lee crosses back, misses Dover. James tracks it down. You would think that Pittsburgh were the team trailing right now, the way they're running after some of these loose balls. Now Dikwa.
It's easy for Pittsburgh now. They've got the ball. They're saying to Hartford, look, we're winning. If you want the ball, if you want to score, come get the ball off us. And haven't been able to do that, Hartford. Lovely play in possession by Pittsburgh.
Fans, if you're on the road and you can't watch the match, you can turn to Sirius XM FC, North America's only 24/7 source of soccer radio, featuring Ray Hudson, Tony Meola, Rodney Marsh, many others. Fans of the USL can now listen to the best matches of the week, along with action from MLS, the Premier League, and UEFA Champions League. Sirius XM FC, channel 157 on your Sirius XM radio and the Sirius XM app. EPL kicked off today along with La Liga.
That's all back to normal-ish. Not normal, but at least the leagues are all taking place, and we've got our weekends full of wonderful football, not just this match here that we've enjoyed.
They're back to 3 substitutions and no hydration breaks.
Goals are plenty at Anfield, and Spain, there were a couple of good matches. PSG, the European finalists, play tomorrow in France. So yeah, life is slowly returning to some sort of normal. Be great to have the crowds back. That's what I miss. Even here, there's normally good crowds at the stadium, and they would have loved to have been here to witness this 5-0 effort so far by Pittsburgh.
A sparse, socially distanced crowd tonight. Hawk tries to slip it through. Pittsburgh happy to hold it. Do you have, it's almost pointless at this point to ask who you think will win the Premier League, because you can basically flip a coin and you've got one of two options. maybe if you go outside the box, if you say Chelsea or United. But I'll ask you a different question. Is there a team in the Premier League who will outpace their expectations this year? And that comes right after Mertz tries to make something happen.
That's difficult to say. I mean, after Leeds' performance today, you could say, wow, Leeds might have a decent team, because not many teams go to Anfield and run Liverpool right down to the final moments, which they did in that 4-3 loss. There's always a surprise every season. There's always a disappointment. I just hope Manchester United isn't the disappointment.
Mensah wins the corner. In comes Marcus Naglestad, the Norwegian who single-handedly brought this team back from the depths against Loudoun a couple of weeks ago.
Number 20, Marcus Naglestad.
Ever Guzman, he's tried so hard, but that must have been one of the most frustrating matches he's played in a long time. As a striker, no service, no shots on goals, hardly a corner, hardly a set piece, and you just spend your whole night defending. That's what strikers hate.
A chance for 6. That's Cohen getting in on it. Mandanda. I think if you're a fan of whether it's the Premier League or any type of soccer, you live for those stories of the teams who outpace their expectations, who weren't supposed to be in the mix. You know, the Leicester Cities of 2015 and 16. Last year's Sheffield United or Wolves. And to an extent, or to a degree, this year in the USL, Hartford have been one of those teams. Not tonight, but a team that is likely to make their first playoff appearance in franchise history.
Yeah, they have been a good surprise, and they started off really, really well. But I think you made a very good point. When they come up against decent teams, they've struggled. And the question for Coach Roddy Jaidi is, how do you get them up to the level that's close to Pittsburgh? Now, have you got the players on the bench? If you haven't got them, then it's a very, very difficult process. This is a good Pittsburgh side, and they're not the only one that's good. We mentioned Indy 11 and Louisville City, and there's a host, Tampa Bay. So difficult for Hartford unless you can bring new players in.
Let's show you the goals from tonight. There have been a lot of them. This was the first one. It was James. First 3 goals in this game came in the first half. And then you had one of 2 mistakes at the back. Mandanda giving it up to Mensah, who scored the first of his 2. Velarde, right before halftime, made it 3-0. And at that point, you really thought there was no coming back. This was the second defensive mistake. This was really on Lara. Mandanda didn't come out. James with another easy one for his second. And then Mensah grabbed his second on a beautiful slip feed from Mertz. And then that chip was no easy task either.
That was a beautiful last goal. That was the only one where we couldn't rip the defense, although even there they weren't that great. But as Mertz comes off, excellent match, Robbie Mertz. Brilliant. That pass was just absolutely wonderful for that 5th goal. But the others, all question marks in defense, and the penalty unnecessary, and the 2 goalkeeper defender errors horrendous. It's been one of those where if I was in the Hartford side, I'd be saying, this is terrible, but we need to learn. How do we not do this in the future? That's got to be the only takeaway for Coach Roddy Jaidi. How do I make sure that my goalkeeper and defenders don't get themselves in such an almighty mess again?
Just another outstanding game for Mertz in the middle of the pitch. Talking about some of those things that Bob Lilly said. He said he trains with such proper application every day, and that he reads the game well. How much he's grown in terms of managing the game. And the thing that stood out to me, he plays every day to get better. This is a team that's currently the best, perhaps the best in the East when it's all said and done. They know there's a lot more to come.
Well, if my manager said such wonderful things about me, I'd be straight in to ask for a raise. What do you think? I'm that good? You need to be paying me more. But it's a lovely compliments for Robbie Mertz, and there's no question that he absolutely deserves them. Whole bunch of assists. I think it was 6 assists this season. It really is superb play. But again, just to bring some calm to the Pittsburgh fans, there's still a long way to go. There's a lot of big matches that lay ahead. This has been a relatively easy day today, and a day in which Riverhounds fans can enjoy, but there'll be a lot tougher matches to come, and those are the ones that are really going to count.
Will Hartford muster up a shot in the final 10 minutes? That's the question.
Yeah,
this is the perfect game version in terms of perfect game no-hitter in terms of pitching a shutout.
Well, it's 10 shots to Pittsburgh, 0 to Hartford. I mean, there's not many games where the opposition don't have one single effort at goal. Normally it's a long distance shot or a shot slightly off target, not one single shot.
Ebi Torres is punished.
A yellow card has been issued to Hartford.
New York Red Bulls 2 do not play tonight. They got a 6-0 win against Union 2 on Wednesday. And their next matchup is with Hartford, which means they get an extra weekend to rest before that game to get themselves ready. Hartford and Pittsburgh, both of them had Wednesday off this week. Now Hartford goes into Wednesday's game on short rest in perhaps what is the biggest game of their season to this point.
And no doubt they'll have their manager's stinging rebuke in their ears, because he's going to give them a volley after this match. Of that I've got very little doubt. And that might put them in the right frame of mind for the New York Red Bulls match, because if they win that, they're almost certain to go through. If they don't, they still have a couple of games against Philadelphia Union 2 back-to-back where they should pick up the full 6 points. But then it's Pittsburgh again, and that's always going to be tough. But you picked it out. The final match of the normal regular season on the 4th of October is Red Bulls at home to Hartford. I wonder if that is a decider. What a game that would be.
Fans, the USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allows clubs across the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. Following the success of the first Academy Cup events, clubs can now apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off in spring 2021. For more information, visit usl-academy.com or search #USL Academy on social media.
Well, as we see Vitiello just passing that ball, if Pittsburgh keep a clean sheet, they'll be just short of 400 minutes since the last goal they conceded. That is a wonderful defensive performance.
This is Hawk, who picks up the 3rd yellow in 3 minutes for Hartford. What was the longest you went without conceding a goal?
I wouldn't have a clue. I'd have to go and look it all up. It was a long time ago now,
can't
Spence.
do it all for you,
I know,
Gary.
it's a long time ago, Spence. The memory's a little bit thin on that.
Was there a stretch, though, where you and your team were in such good defensive form that you knew every time you went out it was going to be a 0?
Yeah, there were spells like that. Certainly there was a start of the 85-86 season where we won the first 10 games on the trot. That's gone down in the record books. So there are moments. And generally playing for Manchester United, you keep clean sheets more often than not. In fact, I think De Gea is just about to pass my record now of clean sheets. He's still behind. But in the next few months, De Gea should pass my record, which I think sits at 160-odd clean sheets. So I do remember that much, Spence.
Talk about great goalie competitions between him and possibly Dean Henderson.
Yes, that'll be good for Manchester United, as it is here for Pittsburgh with the 2 goalkeepers, Vitiello in goals right now and Thomas Gomez.
Cut out again.
which Pittsburgh fans was it who were saying to you that without Canado, Forbes, King Kenny, they were going to struggle?
Certainly doesn't look that way tonight.
And that's what you want, strength and depth. You can't be too reliant on any one player. And if you're Bob Lilly, you're looking at this thinking, well, you know, when King Kenny's back, things even get better. So it really is happy days for Pittsburgh. But I'll just point them to the playoffs and say that one of either St. Louis, Louisville City, or Indy 11 is awaiting Pittsburgh, who now are formally into the playoffs with this win here today. And those are three very good teams that will give anybody a hard game.
Pittsburgh, who have played the majority of their games, of course, in Group F with their Group F opponents, have actually had an opportunity to play all three of those teams this year. They opened the season at Lynn Family Stadium. See James coming out for Fernandez. His 2 goals tonight. Gets him to 5 on the season.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds substitutions. Number 33, Lucas Fernandez.
No wonder Bob Lilly's putting his arm around Ryan James. What another fantastic game. You play Hartford twice, you score 2 goals per game. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Mensa is the other sub, so no hat tricks tonight, but
and number 16,
standing ovations for the
in for number 3,
2 men with a brace.
Mensa.
Forrest, the 23-year-old from Douglasville, and Fernandez, who has a couple of goals to his name this year, made his debut against Louisville City as a sub in that season opener. That's a game that Pittsburgh came out and won despite trailing 1-0 early. Speedy Williams got the goal, as you see Torres being tended to. So they've got the win against Louisville. The game against Indy 11, they've played 2 of them, both 1-0 losses. One of them at this stadium in the final kick. That was Tyler Pasher. And then the St. Louis game, which was also played here at Highmark, they had the 2-0 lead and then they gave it up. It was a Kyle Gregg goal just before the half to make it 2-1. Vol Fall on a free kick.
See, and that might be the only time that Pittsburgh get really tested, when they play outside this group. This might not be the toughest of groups for them, with all due respect to the other teams. And whereas there are some groups that are like the group of death, I don't think this is one of them, which means that the Riverhounds will only really get tested when it gets to the playoffs.
Bunk Anderson coming forward. Fernandez tries to scoot around a pair of defenders. Cut out in the end. Next up for Pittsburgh will be a trip to Loudoun. That comes next Saturday. They do have their midweek game off. In fact, they're done with midweek games for the rest of the year. They only play on Saturday the rest of the way. At Loudoun next week, and they come back here and host Hartford again in 2 weeks' time. And they close the season at Highmark Stadium against Union 2.
None of those really taxing games. So probably for Riverhounds fans, the next time they really see their team up against it will be in the playoffs. That's when the excitement really begins. I just wonder as well whether Coach Jaidi is going to look at Mandanda in goal and say, you know what, there were just too many errors tonight. Maybe it's time to give Mike Novotny a run out next game. There could be quite a few changes, I would suggest. I think as a manager, you have to shake things up and say, look, guys, this is not acceptable. And the only way to really shake it up is to make changes.
I mentioned it. Mandanda's played every minute this season for Hartford.
And he's generally been very, very good. Been one of their bright sparks. But today, both him and that man on the ball there, Mateus Silva, he's given the ball away loads of times. And probably the man who was involved on the wrong side in every goal, Kevin Paulitz at the back. Everything he did just didn't seem to work out today. So there has been 3 or 4 players who would like to see the back of this game and forget about it for a long, long time to come.
We are approaching the 90th minute, or I should say the 91st, Gary, and Hartford do not have a shot tonight.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. I'm at a bit of a loss for words in many respects. I mean, I get that you've made mistakes and you've lost, but have a go. Just get there and do something. But again, maybe we've got to credit Pittsburgh. Every time Hartford have come at them, they've dispossessed them, they've counterattacked them, they just haven't given them any chance. I mean, at one stage in the first half, I was asking you whether you'd mention the word Van Keierziel or Bunk Anderson, because they had nothing to do. That's just not good enough. As a coach, I'd be fuming with this Hartford side, saying, hey, I can accept you losing. I cannot accept you losing and not even getting their goalkeeper to work. So there's probably going to be some harsh words said in that locker room after this game, and who knows, they might work out well for Hartford, and they might come firing back in this next match against New York Red Bulls, which is, as you quite rightly said, now turning out to be a crucial game.
2 minutes of stoppage time is what Eric Tattersall would call sticking a fork in it. It does not appear Hartford will get their shots off tonight. They'll have to wait until Wednesday. That game on ESPN+. Every game in the championship, of course, available on E+.
I guess if there is one silver lining, I'm trying very hard to give Hartford fans something to hold on to, but they haven't made the playoffs before, have they? So if they do this time, even if it's in second place, at least they've done more than they've done before. And that's you've got to give them credit for that and say, well done. They haven't made it yet, but should they do, I think the first thing will be well done, and then to see how they go from there.
That's Naglestad having a go, and that is the first shot of the night. He just wanted to put something on the stat sheet. You have to applaud Marcus Naglestad for that.
Agreed 100%.
Well done.
As a coach, I would have screamed at him, I'm not having a 0 on that column. Just have any shot from anywhere. It wasn't that far off, but it wasn't even a serious shot, really. But, yeah, just it was driving me crazy thinking you can have a 0 shot on target in a match.
So Hartford end up with 1 shot on target tonight, but it's Pittsburgh who get all 3 points tonight. They put up a 5 spot on Hartford, an easy 3 points, and the Riverhounds are guaranteed 2020 playoff action.
Thank you for your attendance. Please drive safely.
Bob Lilly and Ronnie Jaidi. Let's get you to, well, we don't really have a save of the game tonight.
I wonder why.
Although I guess we could have played that last shot from Naglestad, but that is, there's Danny Vitiello. He didn't really face a whole lot, but he is our saver of the game presented by On.
Well, he's probably going to go to the gym now to have a workout for an hour because he hasn't had a workout so far.
Ryan James is, of course, our man of the match presented by Jack Daniels. I guess you had him and you had Rapapa Mensah to choose from. It was James who got the first goal of the night that started the scoring.
Yeah, wonderful goal that he took, and the fact that he scored twice against them in the previous match. He deserves applause, as does Mensah, as does the entire Pittsburgh team. An excellent performance from top to bottom. Velarde was brilliant, won the penalty well, took the penalty well. It really has been a fantastic Pittsburgh day all round, and for Hartford, time to wrap it up and focus on the next game.
We'll give you highlights from this one when we come back. It's a thumping win for Pittsburgh, 5-0.
the party, Gus.
Anytime.
Just a few last-minute things.
Let's go. Whoa. Heads up.
Whoa.
We need
carrots and celery.
Everything's picked fresh.
I have a fresh pick, too.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery.
With top prizes of 250 grand.
Missing anything?
Maybe some asparagus. Keep on scratching.
That's life. And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stomping on your dreams. Wait, and if I didn't think it was worth one try, I'd jump right on a big bird, and then I'd fly.
Well, for Pittsburgh tonight, they pick up their 9th win of the season. In those 9 wins this year, Pittsburgh have an aggregate score of 33-2 as we take a look at our full-time highlights brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery, starting with the first goal. 13 minutes in. It was 11 minutes the first time these two teams met, and again, it was Ryan James.
Ryan James, beautiful control, poor defending at the near post, but he chests it so well and sets himself up for the half volley.
Here's the first of a couple of mistakes. Parfait Mandanda comes in, can't grab it, Mensah scores easily.
Yeah, Paulitz runs into the keeper doesn't take control of the situation, it's a gift.
Then Anthony Velarde goes down in the box, awarded the penalty, he takes it himself, and he scores. It's 3-0 going into the halftime locker room, and then coming out of the second half, all of a sudden, now you're looking at 4.
And it's another mess. Lara back to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper doesn't deal with it. It gets put into the back of the net by James. It's just horrendous to watch. And it's the second time in the match. James being so quick. Great feet there to punish them, but horrendous.
The only reason this 5th goal went in was because Pittsburgh was trailing Phoenix by a goal on the season. They've each scored 5. It was a beautiful feed from Mertz. Mensah does the rest.
Oh, Mensah, good finish. Mertz, wonderful ball through. And Mensah gets it over the goalkeeper. That was a classic goal, but all in all, just a horrendous night for Hartford. And we did get the one shot,
hey,
the
look at that.
92nd minute.
One shot, it was Naglestad from Philadelphia, and it goes on the board. It counts. 5 shots on target for Pittsburgh, 5 goals. They dominated possession. The stats don't tell the whole story. The final score does, though. The on full-time stats. Gary Bailey, this was a fun one. Pittsburgh gets their win. We thank you and our entire crew tonight for an outstanding job, and we thank you for joining us. Final score tonight from Highmark Stadium, it's Pittsburgh 5, Hartford 0. Spencer Siegel signing off. Until next time, check out the USL the rest of the night and all season long on ESPN+. Good night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.